The movie opens into heavy darkness, settling over a quiet forest highway, where two friends, Daniel and Lucas, are driving home in their sedan, while Daniel warns him that all this drinking will force them to pull over. Only a few minutes later, the inevitable happens, and Daniel parks the car on the pitch-black shoulder. Lucas runs off into the dark bushes, leaving his friend alone in the quiet vehicle. While Lucas is busy in the trees, a sudden and loud horn blast echoes through the empty night. Annoyed by the childish prank, he storms back toward the road to confront his friend. When he reaches the car, the headlights are still shining, but Daniel is nowhere to be seen. As he walks around the trunk, he notices a fresh, three-clawed scratch marked deeply into the metal. Growing more anxious by the second, Lucas pulls out his phone to call Daniel's number. A quiet ringing sound comes from the front seat, and he discovers Daniel's phone is lying right on the dashboard. Before he can make sense of this, a heavy body suddenly crashes onto the windshield with terrifying force. It is Daniel, covered in deep cuts and begging for help. Before Lucas can react, an unseen force drags Daniel backward into the dark. Running to the back of the car, Lucas searches the dark asphalt with panic rising in his chest. He finds Daniel lying perfectly still, and a quick check confirms his friend is already dead. Terrified for his own life, Lucas scrambles back into the driver's seat and starts the engine. As he throws the car into gear, he sees a mysterious man standing right in the middle of the road. He slams his foot on the gas, determined to leave this nightmare behind. No matter how fast he drives, the same stranger keeps appearing on the roadside ahead of him. When Lucas looks to his right, the creepy figure is suddenly sitting in the passenger seat right next to him. The car swerves wildly into the darkness, and the terrifying opening scene cuts away. Far away from that cursed road, we meet a young couple named Maddie and Tyler. They recently sold their apartment, gave away their belongings, and bought a large van to serve as their mobile home. Maddie spent weeks designing the cozy interior, while Tyler dreamed of escaping the endless grind of office life. For Tyler, this journey represents absolute freedom, allowing him to leave behind a toxic childhood. But for Maddie, the adventure comes with a secret layer of doubt. Having grown up in several orphanages, she never experienced the comfort of a permanent home. Because of this, she secretly craves stability and a real family, even though she supports Tyler's nomadic dream. Before they head out, Maddie purchases a satellite communicator that can send their location without any cellular signal. Tyler also adds his own touch, hanging a St. Christopher medallion near the front windshield for protection. With their preparations complete, the couple sets off into the great unknown. 6 weeks quickly pass by, and they spend their days exploring beautiful national parks. Tyler secretly plans a romantic proposal at a luxury resort, but unexpected road delays ruin his scheduling. By the time they get back on the highway, a thick blanket of darkness has already settled over the region. They decide to pull over in a quiet residential neighborhood, hoping to rest for a few hours. Looking through a nearby house window, Maddie watches a family celebrating a birthday with bittersweet envy. Wanted to bring her back to the present, Tyler suddenly gets down on one knee and offers her an engagement ring. Maddie is filled with joy, and she happily accepts his proposal with tears in her eyes. Before they can even celebrate, a neighborhood security guard knocks loudly on their window. He firmly informs them that overnight camping is illegal, forcing them to pack up and leave immediately. Tyler is exhausted from driving, so Maddie takes the wheel to head toward a distant hotel. As she drives through the quiet night, Maddie keeps admiring the sparkling new ring on her finger. She becomes slightly distracted by the glint of the metal, and she accidentally drops the ring onto the floorboard. While she is reaching down to find it, a pair of headlights suddenly approaches them at a dangerous speed. It is Lucas's car, and he is honking his horn frantically to grab their attention. Maddie does not understand his desperate warning, so she simply slows down to let him pass. The loud noise wakes Tyler from his sleep, and they watch the speeding sedan disappear into the dark. Only a few miles down the road, they spot a horrific scene near the shoulder. Lucas's car has crashed headfirst into a massive tree, and smoke is pouring from the crushed hood. Tyler immediately grabs his phone to call emergency services, while Maddie cautiously approaches the smoking wreckage. Trapped inside the vehicle, Lucas is still alive, desperately struggling to crawl out. Before Maddie can reach him, an invisible force violently drags the screaming man back into the darkness of the car. Tyler rushes over to help, trying his best to calm the panicked driver through the window. He tells Lucas the help is on the way, but the situation takes a sudden and deadly turn. Without any warning, the steering wheel airbag explodes with immense pressure. The impact snaps Lucas's neck instantly, leaving him dead in the driver's seat. While Tyler is reeling from the shock, Maddie notices a strange detail on the side of the ruined vehicle. 3 deep, jagged claw marks are carved into the metal, matching the damage from the opening scene. She suddenly hears a soft rustling in the dark woods, and she sees a mysterious man standing quietly near their van, watching them with a cold stare. Before she can call out, the stranger melts back into the shadows. When Tyler shines his light toward the trees, the empty forest reveals absolutely nothing. The police arrive shortly after, taking their official statements about the tragic accident. Maddie returns to the safety of the van, but her mind is spinning with fear and confusion. Once the authorities clear them to leave, the couple drives to a nearby hotel to spend the night. While Tyler sleeps, Maddie opens her phone to review the van's security camera footage. When she plays the recording of Lucas's car pulling up, the video suddenly glitches and cuts off. The next morning, the couple prepares to leave the hotel and continue their planned route. As they walk to the driver's side, they freeze at a terrifying sight. The exact same 3-clawed scratch mark is now carved into the side of their own van. Maddie points out the creepy damage, but Tyler quickly dismisses her concerns as a random act of road vandalism. He is too excited about their next destination, which is a massive gathering for van life enthusiasts. When they arrive at the sunny campsite, Tyler feels like he has finally found his true community. He is filled with positive energy, but Maddie struggles to shake off her growing dread. To keep Tyler happy, she hides her terror and forces a smile during the festivities. Tyler even gets to meet Brad Fuller, a famous travel vlogger who originally inspired him to hit the road. While Tyler is busy chatting with his idol, Maddie experiences a deeply unsettling discovery inside their van. The fresh apples she bought just yesterday have completely rotted, turning into black and shriveled husks. Sensing something unnatural is at play, she walks through the camp to clear her head. She enters a large tent filled with missing person posters, and she freezes when she sees the claw symbol printed on them. There she meets Diana, an experienced traveler who has been living on the road for over 20 years. Maddie opens up about her struggles, explaining how they witnessed the horrific accident last night. Hearing this, Diana's friendly demeanor vanishes, as she asks if they stopped the van on the dark road. Maddie's silence confirms the truth, and Diana delivers a stark warning to the young woman. She tells her to stay away from empty highways, and she commands her never to stop at night. Before Tyler can join them, Diana quickly departs and leaves Maddie alone with her rising panic. Following Brad's advice, they park their van in a brightly lit 24-hour gym parking lot. While Tyler is working out inside, Maddie stays behind and goes through her phone's security camera footage. The corrupted video from last night has mysteriously changed, and she watches in horror as the stranger sits next to Lucas. Suddenly, the van doors click open on their own, and a mysterious man steps inside the cabin. He chokes her with her own seatbelt, but she burns his hand using Tyler's silver medallion. Maddie escapes the van just as Tyler returns, but the strange attacker vanishes into the darkness. The next afternoon, Maddie discovers an old book titled Haunted Highways of America at a roadside shop. She learns about the hobo code and the 3-clawed scratch mark, realizing they are marked by a demonic entity called the Passenger. According to the ancient text, once a traveler is marked, the demon will eventually hunt them down. The only way to survive is to never stop on the road, but they already did. That night, they park deep in a dense forest, hoping the thick trees will hide them. Trying to maintain a sense of normalcy, Tyler projects a movie outside, but the Passenger suddenly appears in the shadows. Maddie hurls the hot projector at the demon, and a brilliant flash of light seems to weaken the monster. Deeply terrified, the couple scrambles back into the van, shutting the heavy doors behind them. Tyler is forced to go back outside to retrieve their forgotten keys, leaving Maddie alone in the shaking vehicle. Now believing everything Maddie said, Tyler agrees they must drive to Flagstaff to find Diana. As they drive through the dark highway, a sudden pop echoes from the rear, forcing them to pull over with a flat tire. While Tyler is crawling underneath to place the jack, the wheel bolts mysteriously vanish from the dirt. The Passenger suddenly materializes, causing the jack to slip and crush Tyler's leg. Before Tyler can react, the demon drags Maddie away into the thick fog. Enduring the blinding pain, Tyler fixes the tire and drives desperately into the dark fog. He eventually finds Maddie wandering near an old crash site, with a Passenger trying to trick her with a cruel illusion. He pulls his traumatized fiancée inside, and they drive as fast as they can toward Flagstaff. They find Diana at the campsite, and she quickly warns the other travelers to lock themselves inside. She explains that the passenger is a sadistic demon that causes fatal crashes for amusement. Diana recalls a legend about a hidden desert church dedicated to Saint Christopher, which supposedly offers absolute protection. Suddenly, a violent desert storm hits the camp, and a passenger materializes out of the howling wind. With a sickening crack, the demon snaps Diana's neck, killing her instantly in front of them. Devastated and terrified, Maddie and Tyler escape the camp and drive into the raging storm. They stop at a general store, buying hundreds of St. Christopher medallions to hang all over the van's interior. While driving through the endless sandstorm, Maddie and Tyler read an old religious pamphlet about the history of the legendary saint. The text describes how St. Christopher once traveled with a monk, who was eventually revealed to be a demon in disguise when he was stopped by a cross. This holy story confirms that their medallions are more than just simple silver charms, as they are actually powerful weapons against the passenger. The morning sun offers a brief sense of safety, but Maddie's exhaustion finally catches up to her, causing her to fall asleep. When she wakes up, the sky is pitch black again, showing how easily the demon manipulates time and darkness. To make matters worse, the fuel gauge is hovering dangerously close to the empty line, and despair begins to take hold of them. Maddie spots the rusted metal sign pointing off the main highway, and she remembers Diana's advice about trusting the road signs. They drive directly into the rough desert sand, leaving all tracks and civilization behind as they search for the sanctuary. They eventually arrive at the entrance of the hidden church, but the sight before them is absolutely horrifying. The surrounding area is a graveyard of rusted cars, covered in claw marks and scattered skeletal remains. Tyler limps out of the van to guide Maddie through the maze of vehicles, but the passenger suddenly appears in a cloud of dust. The demon easily snaps Tyler's arm, prompting him to scream at Maddie to drive straight into the church. Maddie slams her foot on the accelerator, crashing the heavy van through the rotting wooden doors of the sanctuary. Inside the dark space, she rams the van into a massive stone statue of St. Christopher carrying the infant Jesus. The passenger recovers instantly and leaps onto the hood, smashing the windshield with his bare hands. Maddie throws the van into reverse, ramming the demon against the heavy stone pillars of the altar. She drives forward and backward, hitting the statue repeatedly until its heavy iron staff aligns directly with the hood. Maddie drives forward at maximum speed, impaling the screaming demon directly on the sharp metal rod. The passenger begins to burn with holy fire, melting into a pool of black tar on the stone altar. At that exact moment, the van's engine sputters and completely dies out of fuel. Suddenly, the demon's melting body explodes with violent force, setting the entire wooden sanctuary on fire. Maddie is trapped inside the burning cabin, but Tyler crawls through the flames to drag her to safety. They collapse onto the cool desert sand, watching their mobile home burn to ash. Thanks to Maddie's satellite communicator, emergency rescue vehicles arrive at the remote location just before dawn. Passenger 2026 movie recap ends with Tyler looking at the burning ruins, and finally, he accepts that their nomadic lifestyle must come to an end. He agrees that a simple, settled life with a permanent home is what they truly need. Maddie smiles through her tears, knowing her dream of a real family is finally within reach.